Ohio State's football season is not over. They have a game against Tennessee this Saturday at 8 p.m. If they win that game, which I think they will, they have to play Oregon on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl. And from there, they could potentially play Texas or maybe Clemson or Arizona State if there's an upset. And then the winner of the bottom half of the bracket in the national championship game if they win the semifinal. There's a path for Ohio State to win the national championship. They can win the national championship. But that doesn't mean they can't be forward thinking. And they can't look into the future and think to themselves, we're losing more than half of our starters, potentially close to 75% of our starters. We're losing a lot of our production. We need to make coaching changes. And we also need to win. And we want to beat Michigan. And we want to win the Big Ten. We want to get back to the Big Ten championship game for the first time since 2020. And we want to beat Michigan for the first time since 2019. They're thinking that. They are. In the Woody Hayes Center. They're thinking that. So what I want to talk about here is who Ohio State should target and potentially who are they targeting, because I'm not an insider, but I can read articles and I can tell you what people are telling me or what I'm, reading. And there's also some high-level guys in the portal where maybe Ohio State isn't targeting them now, or it's not said publicly they're targeting them. But this is Ohio State. I mean, they're a blue blood. They're one of the best programs in the nation. They've been the best program in terms of consistency since the end of World War II. That's a pretty long time, and they pump out NFL talent. So they're going to be in the running for almost anyone they want to be in the running for. Now, they don't have a commit yet in their portal class, but they have been offering people. They've been hosting visits. Some have failed, like Dylan Thieneman. He didn't even get to his visit to Ohio State. He scheduled one, but then committed to Oregon. So that's that. They hosted Josh Thompson on a visit, who we'll be talking about here. And they have interest in Justice Haynes, running back out of Alabama. I think that the Buckeyes need a quarterback. Now, the staff, from what it sounds like, wants a quarterback from the portal. Some think that they should just try out Julian Sayin. What I will say on that point is you can try Julian Sayin, and I think Julian Sayin is going to be a great QB at Ohio State. I think that he is the future. But that doesn't mean you can't bring in someone to compete with him. Because let's say that Ohio State brings in just some like transfer A, just because I don't want to say a name right now. Let's say they just bring in a senior. Or maybe not even a senior, maybe a junior, or maybe even like a sophomore, for example, who's had starting experience. If Sayin is the guy, you'll see it against whoever you bring in. If he is that good and he has the talent to be a dude, to be a dog, to be elite, maybe even be a unicorn based off of what people were talking about him when he was in high school, when he committed to Alabama originally and then transferred to Ohio State, and how he looked in some of Ohio State's spring practices. I mean, there were analysts saying he was going to start for OSU come fall in 2024. I may have even said that. I forget exactly. I think I said Ohio State might be better off starting Sayin in 2024 because of the ceiling that he provides compared to Howard. But he instead saw very limited playing time, and that tells me two things. Either one, Ryan Day just doesn't like playing freshmen, likes to redshirt him, or two, he may not be as good as everyone thinks he is, at least outside of Ohio State's roster and coaching staff. And I think that just especially with, Devin Brown's entering the portal after the playoff is over. Aaron Noland is entering the portal. Tavian St. Clair is coming in. So you have a subtraction of 2, an addition of 1. You can bring someone in. You can. And Lincoln Keenholz will probably leave for the transfer portal as well. So I think it'd be beneficial for Ohio State to bring in a quarterback here. I do think they need a running back. I thought to myself, wait, Quinshon Judkins might return. He could. He has eligibility. Henderson does not. Henderson's gone no matter what after this year. But will Judkins come back? I don't know. He's had a lot of carries in his career. He clearly has enough upside, talent, and proven production to get drafted in the NFL and have a chance to play and compete for a starting spot in the NFL. So I don't know if he would. I'm going to assume that he won't. So with that in mind, James Peoples has looked good as a third stringer this year, but you probably need at least one running back to come in. I also think Ohio State needs a tight end to come in. I believe G. Scott Jr. does not have any more eligibility. Could be wrong on that front, but even if he does, Ohio State's not been good at tight end. There's been a clear drop-off from Cade Stover to G. Scott, Jelani Thurman, Will Kazmarek from last year to this year. Having a good tight end was so helpful to OSU under Day. I mean, think about it. Jeremy Ruckert in 2020 and 2021, and then Cade Stover in 2022 and 2023. Tough tight ends who are also great receivers. It's so helpful to the quarterback position. I think Ohio State could benefit from a tight end. I think they need a center. I think that Carson Hinsman this year was actually pretty all right, good, above average, maybe even great at guard. When he got put back at center, clear downgrade. Clear downgrade from Seth McLaughlin to Carson Hinsman at center. Now, Seth McLaughlin won the Remington Trophy, and I thought he was the best center in the nation, especially as the year progressed. It became very clear, okay, this guy's like different at center. It's tragic that he got hurt. I hope that his future in the NFL is very bright, that he plays for several years, stays healthy. I'm praying for his recovery. Same with Josh Simmons. The point I'm trying to make is I think that the current production that Ohio State has at center is not good enough. And it may not be fixed by bringing in a new O-line coach. I'm hoping that Day brings in a new and better O-line coach, but I don't know if that'll happen. And even if he does, he may need more than a year, or he may need new bodies to work with to fix this offensive line. So I think a center would be good. I think 3 tackles would be good, I believe. Guard play for OSU it's just kind of been what it is. I think it's been better than the center play after McLaughlin was hurt, and tackle play. Ohio State's losing their tackles after this year, losing Simmons, losing Fryer, losing Donovan Jackson. They're returning their guards. So I don't think guard has the same necessity in the portal, but it would still be a want. It would still be good. I think on the defensive line, Ohio State needs some guys because they're losing their starting 4, and they also need a kicker. And also, additionally, they could use another offensive tackle. I heard Day say they wanted like 4 offensive tackles. 3 is a necessity. I think 4 just adds more comfortability, more depth. And I also think a corner and a safety might be good for Ohio State to pick up in the market if possible. Let's look at some of these guys. John Mateer at quarterback. Now, I laugh at this because it's ridiculous, and the fact is he's probably going to Oklahoma, but I want to entertain something here. John Mateer has 3,139 passing yards. He has 29 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 9 yards per attempt, 823 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry. This guy backed up Cameron Ward for 2 years. And while he isn't a clone of Cameron Ward, it's not like you're getting Cameron Ward's twin, like identical twin who's just as successful at football, or getting Cameron Ward in disguise. But maybe you are. I mean, Cameron Ward was not a top 10 QB or not top 20 at Washington State in terms of QBR, in terms of efficiency. And he wasn't certainly top 10 by anyone who I think was objective. I mean, maybe he wasn't. I just missed on him that badly. But efficiency-wise, he wasn't top 10. Little bit of a, whoopsie-daisy QB, as Tom Fornelli would say. Little bit everywhere. But this year, he was clearly the nation's best QB. I think he's the nation's most NFL-ready QB. Like Shedeur Sanders, NFL-ready, very talented. Cam Ward's more NFL-ready, though. He's the best QB in the nation. It's really not even close, both from an NFL talent perspective and also from a collegiate performance perspective. Mateer has been one of the better quarterbacks in the nation from just solely putting up numbers and how he's in large part put the team on his back. I mean, let me read you those stats again. 3,139 passing yards, 826 rushing yards. He has nearly 4,000 all-purpose yards in 12 games. And he has 44 total touchdowns, 15 on the ground, 29 through the air. Not going to say Justin Fields, because Justin Fields was elite in college in his own right, but maybe with better coaching, with better athletes surrounding him to help him mature and grow. I mean, because John Mateer's not a senior. I think John Mateer has 2 years of eligibility left. Could be wrong. I think John Mateer is a sophomore. Ohio State can steal him from Oklahoma. Just offer him more money. Ohio State probably has more money potential, more resources than Oklahoma does. Let's just be straight up about that. 6'1", 219 pounds. He's from Texas, but, I mean, Will Howard was from Kansas State and grew up a Penn State fan. Anything's possible. Again, I think it's ridiculous, but I think that if OSU is going to get a transfer QB, you go big. You do what last year you didn't do, where they passed up on Ward to get Judkins along with Henderson and Howard. I think in hindsight, it's better to have one elite QB and one elite running back rather than, as much as I like it as a Michigan fan, I love the power spread. I love destroying people on the ground. Ohio State, though, does not have the O-line to do that. So in their circumstance, it was better to get an elite QB and one elite running back than just a great QB and two elite backs. The former was always going to be better with the O-line situation. I think this coming year, I think and hope that Ryan Day learns that lesson. I think that whether it's Mateer or maybe you want to talk about Caden Salter from Liberty, who has some mobility, get a QB with legs who can give you 500 rushing yards and make defenses work like hell to stop your offense, because mobile QB with a good arm, with the elite receivers you have Jeremiah Smith for 2 more years at minimum, the defense that you have with Jim Knowles, and also the fact that if Ohio State plays their cards right, they could have a better O-line next year, get a lot of guys in the portal, get a better O-line coach, the guys who have been recruited or developed rather well, and boom, you have your best offense since 2022. So I think that if you're gonna go in the market for a QB, you go big, because if Sayin is the guy, then Sayin will beat out whoever you get from the portal. Like, he'll straight up beat them out, or maybe he'll lose, but it's a close competition. You think to yourself, okay, we'll pay him. We'll pay Sayin to wait, and we'll pay him a lot to wait because we know that he'll be really good. At running back, Justice Haynes, obviously due to his Ohio State connections from his recruiting days in high school. Justice Haynes, 448 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, 5.7 yards per carry. I think that Quinton Joyner, 478 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7.6 yards per carry, is another running back to pay attention to. For the tight end spot, you got to look at Max Clare from Purdue. Bringing in Max Clare, I mean, imagine him and like Jelani Thurman, him mentoring a great prospect, very high level player in terms of potential in Thurman in that tight end room. That'd be quite the upgrade. 51 receptions, 685 receiving yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. And then on the offensive line, I put down several players. I think that Brycen Moore from Virginia Tech, who started there for several seasons, would be a good look. I also think that Isaiah World, Falali Famoe, and Ratrell Perry at offensive tackle would be good looks, and Jordan White and Josh Thompson at guard are good looks as well. Jordan White, 6'2", 300 pounds, 781 snaps, had a 87 run blocking grade and 82 overall offensive grade per Pro Football Focus. Josh Thompson from Northwestern, Jordan White's from Liberty, by the way. Thompson, 6'5", 301, 646 snaps, 74 offensive grade, 82 pass blocking grade, 74 run blocking. He could probably be a tackle, given that he's 6'5", is 300 pounds, and at a really high pass blocking grade, even being a guard, higher than run blocking grade. 82 pass blocking grade is pretty good. I'm not saying he would for sure be. It's just an idea. Not saying it'd be the right move, but just something to put out there. They could use him as a tackle, but he would also be, I think, a near elite to elite guard given the right system. Ratrell Perry is from the FCS, 6'5", 314 pounds, 902 snaps played, so he has some endurance there. 62 overall offensive grade, 65 pass block, and 61 run block. Isaiah World has 854 snaps played. Famoe has 521. Famoe received poor grades overall, 57 offensively, 72 pass blocking, 53 run blocking, but I think that I think he has a lot of potential still, and 24/7 Sports graded him highly. So if PFF and 24/7 Sports have a disagreement there, they're both very good at what they do. But I'm going to give some benefit of the doubt to him because 247 Sports, again, really good. If they're one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to scouting and recruiting news. Isaiah World, 68 offensive grade, 82 pass blocking, 59 run blocking, 6'8", 309 pounds, best offensive lineman from Nevada. He's in the portal there. That's the offensive outlook. I don't think OSU needs any wide receivers in the portal. I think it's pretty obvious why, due to Heartline's recruiting and development. You look on defense, I think that Ohio State's going to be in line for some players on the D-line. I don't think they need someone at linebacker other than maybe Dasan McCullough, who'd be a nice depth piece, also a developmental piece. Ohio State almost got him out of high school, but then he committed to Indiana, had some good seasons, went to Oklahoma. I think he was dinged up this year or maybe got buried in the depth chart, but he's a good player. I think Ohio State could benefit from him coming in as Cody Simon leaves for the NFL this season. Will Helt and James Williams combined for 70 tackles and 10 sacks at Nebraska and Purdue. Helt from Purdue and Williams from Nebraska. Williams probably will go to Florida State, but money talks, and so does Larry Johnson's name. So those are some names to pay attention to on defense. James Thompson Jr., defensive lineman from Wisconsin, 3 sacks, 2 passes defended, 29 tackles. He is a Ohio kid from Cincinnati, and he's no longer a kid. Recruiting days are over. He's now a man, and to get those numbers at Wisconsin is impressive because that defense, good, great. I'd even say near elite, but their strengths were not on the D-line, and he was their best defensive lineman. So whoever he commits to is getting a very good player in James Thompson Jr. And then at corner, if you're looking for anyone, I'd say the top corner right now who's available or close to it is Takario Davis. I have mentioned him in terms of Michigan circles or even Penn State circles, or really anyone could benefit from having Takario Davis in their cornerback room. So those are some targets for Ohio State on defense. As for kicker, I don't know who they could get at kicker, but they should try and target someone. They should even throw a lot of money at someone because, especially in the modern world of football, the game's been shortened by the clock rules. Defenses have caught up to offenses, creating some lower scoring games. I think a good kicker is actually more important now than it was a few years ago. Like, a good kicker now is more important than it was in 2023, more important than it was in 22, 21, etc. There are fewer possessions, fewer opportunities to score. Defenses schematically have gotten better. Having a kicker, like Michigan having Dominic Zvada, won them that Ohio State game. It did. It gave them that extra win. It helped. So it was also the only reason they didn't really get shut out by Texas. It was really the only reason they didn't get, shut out by the Longhorns. So something to keep in mind there. That's who I think Ohio State should go after when it comes to offense and defense. I think they're probably going to get a class of 10 or more guys. I think they have to if they don't want to take a step back next season. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell so that way you can get notified when new content from College Football with Sam drops. I appreciate you very much, and also share the video around to others who enjoy the sport of college football and love it as I do and as you do, and comment your thoughts down below so that we can have a conversation, because I want to know what you are thinking. And join our Discord server where we talk college football 24/7 via the link in the description or down below in the pinned comment. Thank you to my Heisman Patreon members, Crash2488, Brascal Rascal, and Kylo OH. Thank you to my All-American Patreon members, Chris Lane, Ismar, and Tyler Nye. And thank you to my All-Conference members, John Lynn, Roaming Gnome, Matthew Sale, Austin Christmas, Joshua Jorgensen, and Will Loftus. Make sure to check out my merchandise store and or Patreon page, or super chat down in the comment section below to support the channel. The Patreon page and merchandise store links are in the description or down below in the pinned comment. I hope you have a wonderful day. It is December, so Merry Christmas and also Happy New Year. I will see you guys soon.